And was it Dr. Isley who did the chicken experiments?
Dr. Isley, well, before they moved from Waxahachie, in his backyard in Waxahachie, close to Trinity University, he set up a very fascinating problem, which has been referred to by numerous papers of being a really unique, interesting way to study food habits. But he had, in his backyard, made an insectary, which was enclosed an area with screen wire, and in that enclosure, he placed, I think, 5 or 6 different species, but grasshoppers that had different types of markings and coloration, color patterns, and recorded all of that. He had students that were helping him, and he was a person that you were enjoying working for and with. But he put in this enclosure some bantam chickens, and those little bantams, of course, were predators on the grasshoppers, and he was able to see what the survivors looked like and recorded all of that and published it. And I know that it was in several ecological textbooks in animal ecology.
Was this prior to you working with him?
Yeah, it was prior to, because I didn't know him from whoever. You know, Dr. Isley, this is before they moved to Trinity University, or moved Trinity University to San Antonio.
Okay.
But he was a person that was a big influence on me. He was a big influence on Dr. Knudsen, who did some work at Southern Methodist University and with mainly taxonomic grasshoppers of northeastern, that'd be northeastern Texas. A key he did, and he and Gordon Alexander did, but Gordon Alexander and Professor Isley did a publication that was published in Science, which you can get something out in a hurry, but it's not that easy to get it published. But at least he had this paper published on, which was after Professor Isley died. Gordon Alexander published it, or got it published in Science, with credits to Dr. Isley, or Professor Isley. Wonderful man, but he never did complete a PhD.
Dr. Isley?
Yeah. I think that if he didn't receive technically a doctorate, of philosophy or something, that he should have received that as an honorary degree. But they did work with the food habits of low medicated, and they completed one of the first studies in which crop contents of grasshopper was observed under the microscope, and you can identify grasses and forms, and if you spend enough time with it, you can, on the basis of trichomes on the plant material, one can identify the grass species or form species. But that was done, but it was, I think, 2 years after Professor Isley had died.
So that was was that mid-60s? Mid-60s?
It was shortly after Isley died, and I've forgotten what year.
Yeah.
I don't.
That's okay. But a couple of years after he died.
Yeah, about 2 years after
Okay.
Isley died. Gordon he knew what he'd been working on. And I was one of Dr. Isley's technical assistants. And had helped Isley with looking at the contents in these little metacatids. And lo and behold, it was thought, I think, that the metacatid fed on things like flower parts and pollen. But it turned out it may have been some of that, but there was a lot of chitin and pieces of other insects. So it had fed on some other creatures.
Huh. Oh, that's interesting. Do you remember what the species was?
It was a species of Connocephalus. And in the big paper that you all are going back and repeating some of the work, that paper lists all of the many publications of Dr. Alexander, and it lists as Alexander and Isley, and it gives the title of the paper, which was something to the effect of a method for determining the food that's been eaten by grasshopper that was used by lots of other people. He was one of the early workers, I think, a pioneer worker in grasshopper behavior and grasshopper physiology.